Have you ever wondered about the different viewpoints within Islamic thought and practice? This is a question that many of us may have asked ourselves. As we navigate through the myriad of interpretations and understandings that exist within the Islamic world, today we turn our attention towards a fascinating debate that has been captivating audiences in Indonesia. In one corner of this intellectual ring, we have Ustadz Salafi, a prominent figure within the Salafi movement. Ustadz Salafi advocates for a return to a puritanical and literal interpretation of the Qur'an and Hadith, the primary sources of Islamic jurisprudence. His teachings emphasize strict adherence to the practices of the Prophet Muhammad and his companions, known as the Salaf. This, he believes, is the purest form of Islam, untainted by cultural practices or modern interpretations. On the opposite side, we have Ustadz Ali Bida. The term bid'ah, in Islamic parlance, refers to religious innovation or practices that are not substantiated by the Quran and Hadith. Ustadz Ali Bida, however, is not an advocate for innovation, but rather a critic of those who label everything outside of a literal interpretation of texts as innovation. He argues for an understanding of Islam that accommodates cultural diversity and evolving interpretations, without straying from the fundamental tenets of the faith. These two figures, each with their unique perspective, represent the complexity and diversity within the Islamic community. They embody the dynamic nature of Islamic thought, each contributing to the ongoing conversation about what it means to be a practicing Muslim in the modern world. Ustadz Salafi, a figure known for his adherence to the Salafi movement within Islam, has a number of critiques for Ustadz Ali Bida. At the heart of Ustadz Salafi's critique is a profound emphasis on monotheism. This is the belief in a single, all-powerful God, a cornerstone of the Islamic faith. Ustadz Salafi critiques any deviation from this core tenet as a distortion of the pure faith. He argues that the introduction of intercessors, such as saints or spiritual leaders, between the believer and God, dilutes the potency of this monotheistic belief. Ustadz Salafi's critique also places a heavy focus on the strict adherence to the teachings of Prophet Muhammad. He argues that the Prophet's life and teachings provide a complete and comprehensive guide for leading a righteous and fulfilling life. Any deviation or addition to these teachings, he claims, leads to a path away from the righteous one laid out by the Prophet. For Ustadz Salafi, the Prophet's teachings are not just historical texts, but a living guide for every aspect of a Muslim's life. Lastly, Ustadz Salafi is known for his fierce rejection of innovations in religious practices, a concept known within Islamic discourse as bid'ah. He believes that the faith, as it was practiced during the time of the Prophet, is perfect and complete in itself. Any attempt to introduce new practices or rituals, he argues, is not just unnecessary but also a potential threat to the purity of the faith. This critique is not just about preserving the past for its own sake. Rather, Ustadz Salafi sees these innovations as distractions that can lead believers away from the core principles of Islam. For him, the path to salvation lies in the faithful following of the Prophet's teachings without addition or subtraction. In conclusion, Ustadz Salafi's arguments are deeply rooted in his interpretation of Islamic doctrine. His critique of Ustadz Ali Bida is based on a vision of Islam that is strictly monotheistic, devoted to the teachings of the Prophet, and resistant to any form of religious innovation. Ustadz Salafi's arguments are deeply rooted in his interpretation of Islamic doctrine. Now let's turn to Ustadz Ali Bida's response to these critiques. Ustadz Ali Bida, an influential figure in Indonesian Islamic society, doesn't shy away from the criticism. Instead, he embraces the opportunity to articulate his perspective on bid'ah, a term that denotes innovative religious practices not explicitly found in the Quran or Hadith. In his defense, Ustadz Ali Bida underscores the importance of understanding bid'ah in its broader context. He firmly believes that bid'ah shouldn't be dismissed outright as a deviation from the traditional path. Rather, he argues, it's an inevitable part of the evolution of religious practices over time and a testament to the dynamic nature of faith. He goes on to explain that the Islamic faith, like any other belief system, must adapt to the changing times while preserving its core principles. To him, the practice of bid'ah is a reflection of this adaptability, a sign that the faith is alive and responsive to the needs and conditions of its followers. Ustadz Ali Bida also challenges the notion that bid'ah is inherently negative. He argues that the term has been misunderstood and misused, leading to unnecessary division within the community. He insists that not all forms of bid'ah are bad, and some can indeed be classified as bid'ah hasana, or commendable innovation, a concept that even the Prophet Muhammad is reported to have acknowledged. In response to Ustad Salafi's critique, Ustad's Ahli Bidah emphasizes the need for dialogue and mutual respect. He believes that differing interpretations and practices within the Islamic faith should inspire conversation and understanding, not division and discord. He ends his response by inviting his critics to engage in open dialogue, to seek common ground, and to respect the diversity of thought within the Islamic community. Ustad's Ahli Bidah's defense of his practices sheds light on a different interpretation of Islamic doctrine. His perspective serves as a reminder that Islamic practices, like any other religious practices, are subject to interpretation, adaptation, and evolution over time. How does this debate between Ustad Salafi and Ustad's Ali Bidah impact the wider Islamic community? This question may seem complex, but it's essential to understand the broader implications of this discourse. The debate between Ustad Salafi and Ustad's Ali Bidah is not just an exchange of words. It's a reflection of the diversity of thought within the Islamic community, particularly in Indonesia. This diversity is what makes the community vibrant and dynamic, yet also presents challenges. When different interpretations of faith clash, it can lead to tension within the community. This tension, however, is also an opportunity for growth and understanding. It pushes the community to engage in continuous dialogue, to question, reflect, and deepen their understanding of their faith. It encourages individuals to not just accept things at face value, but to explore and understand the nuances of their beliefs. But let's also consider the impact on the wider Islamic community beyond Indonesia. This debate resonates globally, influencing discussions and shaping perspectives. It serves as a reminder that Islam, like any other faith, is not monolithic. It is a rich tapestry woven from different threads of interpretation, tradition, and culture. Yet amidst this diversity there is a shared core, a unifying belief in the oneness of God, the teachings of the Prophet Muhammad, and the values of peace, compassion, and justice. This shared core is what allows these differing viewpoints to coexist within the same community. Moreover, this debate is not just about religious interpretations, it's also about how these interpretations influence daily life, societal norms, and political dynamics. It's about how faith interacts with culture and society, shaping and being shaped by it. In conclusion, the debate between Ustad Salafi and Ustad's Ali Bidah is more than a theological discourse. It's a conversation about faith, identity, and community. It's about understanding the complexity and diversity of the Islamic community. And so, we come back to our question: how does this debate impact the wider Islamic community? The answer lies in acknowledging and appreciating the diversity it represents. This debate is a testament to the diversity of thought within the Islamic community. As we wrap up, let's reflect on the key points from this engaging debate. We've journeyed through the heart of a discourse that is as complex as it is intriguing, featuring two prominent figures in the Indonesian religious realm: Ustad Salafi and Ustad's Ali Bidah. Ustad Salafi's critique was rooted in a firm commitment to the original teachings of Islam, advocating for a rigid adherence to the Qur'an and Hadith. His arguments were compelling, presenting a clear and unambiguous interpretation of religious doctrine. He emphasized the dangers of bid'ah, or innovation, in religious matters, arguing that it can lead to deviation from the true path of Islam. On the other side, Ustad's Ali Bidah offered a contrasting perspective. He defended the practice of bid'ah, suggesting that it represents a natural evolution of religious thought and practice. He argued that bid'ah can be a tool for adapting to the changing times, while still remaining faithful to the core principles of Islam. His response was a testament to the richness and diversity of Islamic thought, challenging the notion that there is a single, immutable way to practice the faith. This debate has had significant impact, not just on the individuals involved, but on the wider community. It's stirred conversations and provoked thought, encouraging individuals to reflect on their own beliefs and practices. The discourse between Ustad Salafi and Ustad's Ali Bidah has illuminated the breadth and depth of Islamic thought, showcasing the richness of its tradition and the vibrancy of its ongoing evolution. In the end, what stands out is not who won or lost, but the importance of engaging in such debates. They allow us to explore different perspectives, challenge our preconceptions, and deepen our understanding. It's through these discussions that we grow, both as individuals and as a community. Remember, the diversity of thought is what makes any community vibrant and dynamic. Until next time, keep exploring and questioning.